Happy Saturday night, Surgeaholic, Sooner Surge nightly live show podcast that tells it like it is. Daniel starting it right with a little Toby Keith lyrics here. Love it to start off the show. I tell you what wasn't pretty tonight was the Sooner basketball program. Their first SEC test, their first SEC game in the history of its program. Absolute shellacking handed to them by the Crimson Tide. And the Sooners now turn around, and who do they get at home? Texas A&M, who just beat Texas by 20. We'll see what happens. But it wasn't pretty tonight. Thanks for joining us here on the Sooner Surge. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, subscribe right now. Click the like before we get started. Lori's going to be on here demanding and asking for those, and she should. She's very adamant about that, and we appreciate that very much. So go ahead and smash the like. Appreciate you guys being on here. Not good news for the Sooner basketball team, and really not good news for the football program either. What's new?
Hey, I got a question. I'm glad Gray God brought this up. I think it's a great discussion that we can have on this. And he saw my Ethan O'Connor, who I think most people thought he was going to end up at OU. I mean, his girlfriend, I think, committed to play soccer there or transferred to play soccer at OU. Everybody thought he would. Well, he committed today to Miami. Obviously, a lot of people say, well, they paid a lot more than OU. Here's my question, and I would love to – you can call and talk about it tonight. You can put it in the chat. Is it, A, OU doesn't have enough to pay and match stuff like that, or is it B, they are choosing they don't want to pay that much?
Jay, according to some people –
coming from like Brent Venables' philosophy.
According to some people – Miami kept going up, and the Sooners bowed out of the deal.
That's what I'm saying. So is that they don't have the money, or is that they don't want to pay the money?
It's both, Jay.
How can it be both? Which one?
Well, I'm going to be – here's my personal opinion. You're able to keep guys, right, that could have gone elsewhere. They probably spent a lot of money just there, and there's probably a limit that they're going to go to with certain players, and at that point, they're not going to go any higher, Jay.
I disagree a little bit. I think I go back to when Brent Venables came on, and he's got a lot of Dabo in him. You have to admit that, okay? And I just think Brent Venables doesn't look at the portal as much as he looks at guys that stick with the team. Yeah, they pay a lot to the guys that stick around, and that's great. I'm glad they do it. They'd be in really big trouble. But I do think in the portal – you have this word overpay. I think they have evaluations of players and they don't go above that. And I think that starts with, I think it probably is Brent Venables' philosophy. Like, we'll pay to a certain amount, but we're not going to just go overpay. I do think it's that. I don't know. I may be wrong. Maybe it is they just don't have the money. I don't know though.
I agree with you, Jay, to some extent. However, I like what Coconut Greg says here. They're very selective about who they throw money at. And where they're not in desperation at is the defensive side. Yeah. Now, cornerback, they need to get another corner. They lost Makari Vickers. They've got a spot there where you could get a dog there at the other side opposite Eli Bowen, but they do have some other options. I wouldn't say they're desperate at corner yet. Now, who have they really spent any money on, Jay, in the portal? The only guy you can say is John Mateer, and you have to kind of leave that to the side because of the Arbuckle connection.
Well, the thing is, I think when Mateer committed to OU, a lot of people said Miami was going to offer him a lot more, and he chose OU. Like, he was going to go to OU. If they would have got a bidding, I would have liked to have seen if they would have gotten a bidding war with him, what would have happened.
Hey, and Jay, I don't know how much they spent on Giovanni Gibson, Satania, Keontez Lewis, and Josiah Martin. I don't know how much they spent for those guys. Do you? Jason Murphy. I'm asking Jason Murphy. Does Jason Murphy know how much they spent? Now, the tight end, you should not have paid more than pennies. You should have paid more than pennies for those guys.
And let me ask this. I think Greg got said selective stuff is going to get BV Can, needed a solid corner opposite Eli.
No, his coaching's going to get a canned.
But listen, you in the portal, in my opinion, and if you disagree, say you disagree, give me a thumbs down, whatever. If you go into the portal and you overpay, say Ethan O'Connor wanted a ton of money, Miami offered him a lot, and OU decides to like go match it. in the portal, if you pay a lot of money to a guy that's well known and demanding a lot of money and you miss, then I don't think people really care, do they? As much. You at least went and got him. You went and got him. And you paid to get him. Yeah, maybe he doesn't pan out, but I think the narrative right now is OU's not getting those guys. So I just wonder, are they bowing out? Do they not have the money? Do they only go off evaluations and they're not going to overpay? I think that's probably it. They're not going to overpay for players. We said it last year, didn't we? That was kind of like the discussion.
Yes, but Jason, here's what doesn't make sense. A month or two ago, the quote that was popped in here, the quote that was popped wherever about OU this year was BV's going to have all the resources he needs to get guys. That's what we were told.
Jerm, that's my point. Does he have the resources, but he just don't want to spend on a guy that's getting that much at Miami? He don't want to go that high? That's what I'm asking. Where does it start? Where do you think the buck stops with? Does it stop with BV? Does it stop with somebody else? What do you think the answer is to that?
I think it's both, Jay. It's BV and it's the upper. But I will say this. There are guys like Jaden Jackson, R. Mason Thomas, RSJ, many others. I mean, you don't know who went to the staff and said, I may enter the portal unless I can get a little bit of an increase.
Jerm,
I don't know how much they've paid for people, Jay. No one's going to know.
Jerm, to me, I think that's a bad argument. And I hear a lot of people say it, well, they're paying a lot for the guys they have. So's every other school.
I'm not saying that's a bad. Why is that? I said, I don't know how much they paid guys, Jay.
But every other school's doing that. Every other school's keeping players too. Alabama has to pay a lot to keep players. It's not just OU. How much are they paying for Ryan Williams next year? How much is Ohio State paying for Jeremiah Smith? A lot of money. But they have to keep him, just like R. Mason Thomas for OU.
Jay, I didn't say anything. Do you know how much they're getting paid, Jay? And by the way, who said Gabe Eichert as the NIL guy? He doesn't have a background in accounting, does he? In finances?
I don't know. He might have majored in. I don't know what he majored in, Jerm.
I want a guy who's done it at a big-time level.
Coconut Greg says he thinks they have limited funds they spend on quarterback and current players. Well, if that's the case, if that's the case, Greg, then the answer is they don't have enough NIL. If that's the case, if that's truly the case, and they are way behind in NIL, right?
Yeah. And that's not what we were told, Jay. That's not what people said.
Hey, we'll see. This one shocked me today. I'm not going to lie. The O'Connor one shocked me. I thought that was kind of like for sure going to happen. Once who knows why? I don't know. I can't claim that I know how much Miami's going to pay him. I don't know. I just think it's a weird situation when you have a lot of things look like in your favor with that. But so I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. No more center ties anywhere. It just needs to go away. Winning is the only way Oklahoma gets more NIL budget. Agree with that. Keith says this is not the NFL. Do players dictate the price? Yeah, I think they do.
Yeah, they do.
I think they go to the right person, or their agent doesn't say, hey, my guy's getting into the portal if he needs $500,000 extra next year.
Hey, Chuck brings up a good point. Guys, it's like a roll of the dice with these players. Even if they offer guys a lot, they can still turn it down. That's true. We don't know that if guys are turning OU down. Maybe they are. Maybe they don't want to come to Oklahoma.
Hey, maybe we need to have Brian Bedford back on, because
I was thinking about that today. What did you think? I mean,
Brian Bedford with the recruit route, come back on and talk about this, because OU is definitely reworking the administrative side of the football program. Stevenson, Castiglione, Rosenberg, they're all working together. They've got to bring someone in to replace Chuck Lilly, and whoever they bring in better have experience in front office. Better have experience in front office. And no, I don't want anyone with OU ties. No one.
I agree. Lewis Carter to UCF, which is, I think a lot of people thought he might go closer to home, and that's exactly what he did. KB Longhorn, he's been saying this for a long time. KB has. He's been on our lives quite a bit, and he says this a lot. Money issues and not winning on the field. And could be right, KB. I mean, I don't claim to know, so
Hey,
you could be right.
Sooner Cowboys, highly disagree with your comment. Like, I really disagree with it.
Did you watch Texas? Did you watch
Sooner
Texas?
Cowboys, Sooner Cowboys, that's, in my opinion, a pretty bad take. Just based off, I mean, for one thing, there's some guys that probably didn't play this year because they weren't nice enough. How about that? I'm not going to go into detail, but
hey, yeah, Texas, the post game of the game they just won, they had 2 kids up on stage that were just awesome, nice, talking about their faith and everything. I mean, so listen,
Marcus
Freeman.
It's
about winning. It's about winning.
Exactly.
Hey, Nelio says, just a question about the kid and just ballpark them out. But how much do you think the O'Connor kid might command? I don't know. He was a redshirt freshman, had a really good year. I don't know what he would command. I wouldn't be shocked if Miami paid him quite a bit. Now, it's hard for me to answer, Neely. I'm not.
It's weird though, Jay. The girlfriend.
I'm not in the NIL world, so I couldn't even come close to answering that question. I don't want to give you an answer that's just totally wrong. So, but obviously he probably got a good chunk if he's going to Miami and not OU, with a lot of things in OU's favor. I don't know, man. I really don't. It's disappointing though, because I think a lot of people had him going to OU, and you got winning fixes, tons of issues. You're absolutely right. Miami plays in the portal. LSU plays in the portal. Ole Miss plays in the portal. We could go down the list. OU to me does not seem like a portal team over the first 3 years under Brent Venables. Do they to you?
No.
And listen, I am under the belief, I will still say this. High school recruiting is more important than portal. But you have to dally in the portal. You have to get good players. You can't just go to the portal and
dally
get like
or dabble. Dally or dabble.
Are we doing this again about a word? Dally is a word.
It's a totally different word meaning.
Dally and dabble
around. That's what OU is dallying around. They need to dabble in it.
I'm not going to argue this dally and dabble just like the naivety or whatever it was. Okay. But they were dabbling then, if that's better. To me, OU is in the first 3 years under Brent Venables. I mean, name off the top of your hand how many guys that they got that were total difference makers and not depth. Now, John Mateer. They
haven't gotten many out of the portal, Jay.
Dylan Gabriel and John Mateer, 2 quarterbacks, yes.
Walter Rouse.
I mean, McKay Matauer played. You could say McCullough didn't really get a whole lot of run. Like he was hurt a lot. I mean, you could go down the list of guys, but I'm talking about just dudes.
So, Sooner Freak asking about tricking the Twins again. I mean, I'm welcome anytime anyone calls in if you want to try to trick us. I mean, you're fair game to do that. Ask us a scoring play from the last what was it? We said it has to be under BV's era if you're doing a scoring play. Numbers, you can ask us last, I don't know, 10, 20 years.
Hey, Hunter, so I was right. Cool. Dally.
No, you said they need a dally in it.
No, I said they've been dallying it. I've said they've been dallying.
No, you said they need to dally. No. I said no. Hey. They've been dallying. They need to dabble in it. I know what you said. I know what you said. I have a photographic memory, Jason.
We all know you don't. And I'll go after this show's over. I'll go watch it and I'll clip it, and that's fine. It was dally, whatever. Dominique Williams.
Said OU needs to dally.
I thought I said they've been dallying. Talon says Dominique. Dominique's the guy that they got out of the portal. That's a good name. That's a good one. Chuck says, how crazy will the Twins get if Mateer doesn't pan out? Well, it would be pretty. I mean, supposedly if he doesn't, they should. I mean, a lot of people think Hawkins is already the guy. So, but yeah, we need an instant replay of that, Hunter. If you could only clip that and show us right here.
Hey, the longer this goes, it seems like OU is dallying around and dragging their feet on things. They haven't hired a DC. You know why? Because it doesn't matter, because BB's going to be the DC, but it's a bad look. Get your guy in there, at least say who it is, and then start landing some guys in the portal. Classes start January 13th. If Kendall Daniels is going to be a Sooner, he better be one pretty quickly. Let's figure this thing out.
Yeah, I think, and you're still having guys enter. As of today, there's been guys enter the portal. So Sooner for Life's not worried about Mateer. I'm not either. I think he'll be good. I think he's a good player. So O-line and receivers. I would kind of agree with that Sooner for life. Tight ends as well. They have no experience at tight end at all. None. Zero. Zilch.
Hey,
None.
KC, I hate to disagree with you, but I'm going to. The DC doesn't matter if BV's calling the schemes. Now, what it does matter is they need to figure out who they're going to, quote, call the DC. It's going to be co-DC. But Wes Goodwin tonight, it's official, I think, in the Hunter. Wes Goodwin is no longer with Clemson, but he's welcome to come back as an analyst, they said. Like, figure something out. Make some decisions here. Get everybody in a room right now and say, here's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I saw this today too. But also on the same thing, I think he said may be an option to be an analyst at Clemson.
Exactly. That's what it said.
So they're going to get rid of him being a DC, but going to keep him on as an analyst if he doesn't come to OU, basically, is the way I read that. Every player
every player that stays is technically getting a player.
I see his point. I see
what you're saying is every guy that OU gets is equal to getting a player out of the portal. I get that. And R. Mason Thomas, great if you keep him. RSG, great. Jaden Jackson, those guys, big-time guys, great. But we're talking about adding guys. This is about keeping your ingredients and then going elsewhere and picking up your secret ingredients or the ingredients that are going to make it better. Right now, we know what these ingredients are going to provide us. A pretty sound defense, okay? Take it to the next level. You've lost Ethan Downs, Caden Woolard. You've got to get an edge. You've got to get an edge rusher, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, you got a Okoye that hasn't played.
I agree. Or a cheetah. You've got to get a cheetah. You lost Deshaun McCullough, Caden Woolard, Ethan Downs. You've got to get someone in there.
Hey, let me say something, though. And Mess, I think Jeremy said that Rob G is correct on what he said, kind of. But here's the difference.
Keep the ingredients.
Here's the difference. LSU, Miami, Alabama, Georgia, they're keeping players too, but then they're also going to get guys out of the portal.
Alabama hasn't.
Not yet, but they will. They'll get guys.
They're losing a lot.
Alabama's lost a good handful, but
in fact, I haven't seen Alabama or Georgia really sign anyone yet, Jay.
But if you say they lost a lot, then go look at Oklahoma. If you're an outsider looking at Oklahoma, you're probably thinking what's happening at Oklahoma. Oh, come on, Jeremy.
No, I'm saying lost. OU's not getting anyone. I agree with that, but
they lost. They lost like 30 players, Jeremy.
I'm talking about significant players.
But who did Alabama lose other than the lineman that's significant? That tight end played like one snap.
Outside of receivers, OU didn't lose a whole lot.
I'm asking you about Alabama. You said Alabama lost a ton of players. Who? That's like that played.
I don't follow them enough, so I don't know if they're actually significant losses.
Thank you. That's my point.
The offensive tackle started every game this year. Pritchett, every game. He
was a big loss. I agree with that one.
I wish OU'd go get him.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening. But hope things are different behind the scenes. Yeah, here's the thing. I think that's part of the issue. As a fan channel, none of us are. I mean, at least me and Jeremy, we're not sitting here. We don't know anything going on right behind the scenes. But you've said it before, Jerm. When there's not a whole lot of transparency, it leads to I don't even know the word, but the way they're restructuring things, they haven't figured it out yet because they haven't come public with what they're doing on it yet. So I think they're still trying to figure it out. NIL wise, maybe they're still trying to figure it out. I don't know.
It's a lack of transparency. I don't like it.
I think it's
let me ask everyone in here, and we're going to open the phone lines here in a minute. Let me ask everyone in here. To you, Jay, to the viewers here at the Sooner Surge, to me, it seems like this should be a time where a lot is happening. And instead, it's like nothing's happening. It's a ghost town. We're not getting any news hardly. Chester, hitting ready to go to work. Let's open the phone lines. Check out The Fan Stop at thefanstop.com. Sign up for the Shirt of the Month Club. Use code SURGE. Get 10% off your first 3 months. Locally owned, officially licensed gear. Get on there. thefanstop.com. Search the website. It's great. Great products. Open up the phone lines here. Call in. There's the link. Call in. Give us your takes. Talk to us about the portal or lack thereof, injuries. Talk to us about Sooner basketball lost tonight. Talk to us about whatever it is you want to talk in the administrative side of things with the NIL. Whatever it is, we're here for it.
Hey, did you watch any NFL today at all?
We kind of watched a little bit of the Bengals. Hey, the Chiefs should lose tomorrow on purpose. NFL teams should be paying the Chiefs to lose the game. If the Chiefs win tomorrow, it's the dumbest decision in sports. They got to lose on purpose.
Well, Bengals might blow the game, Hunter says.
Now, if the Bengals blow the game, it doesn't matter. If the Bengals win, the Chiefs have to lose on purpose.
Why?
And I hate saying that, but because no one in the AFC wants to play the Bengals, Jay.
Well, that's true. Hey, we got Bobby on the line. Bobby, how you doing tonight?
Guys, how y'all doing?
Good. You?
Listen, I think we're doing pretty good in the portal because all we need, Mateer, was probably the best pick out of everybody. And our only loss is number 4, Anderson, our wide receiver. I think I don't think we need to waste a lot of money on some of these players that apparently they haven't done. A lot of them haven't proven themselves. Besides Mateer.
Bobby, I agree with the Mateer was the piece they really needed, but I don't think, like, to me, my opinion is, okay, they went and got some tight ends. None of them are, like, if you're going to go get a tight end, go get somebody that's going to make a difference, I think. Same, you lost McCullough. McCullough could have been a really good player for them this year, maybe. I know he's been injured before, but you lost him. You lost 6 receivers in all. Yes, you replaced them with some decent receivers. I'm not too upset with the receivers.
What about Roberts, tight end? Is he still going to be there, Roberts, next year?
Gone.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So
your hope is Devon Mitchell. Your hope is Devon Mitchell's the dude people think he is, but and I agree with Bobby on the fact that they did pay for Mateer. They got the guy that was a must. The problem is getting the guy that's a must. He may not look like he was a must if you don't surround him with some other dudes as well.
But don't y'all agree? Our offensive line, I think, is going to be really improved next year.
They have a chance to be better, but at the same time, I have to see it. They have so many young guys that haven't played a lot. That's what you just don't know yet. They got talent in the offensive line, but I would love some experience in the portal. So that's where I'm kind of like, I'm still waiting and seeing. I think they got some guys in the portal, like Gibson. I think at receiver, I think he's pretty good. I like Mateer, but tight ends, they didn't get anybody good. I think offensive linemen, I don't know. I'm still not sold, Bobby.
Yeah.
But I can agree they had to get Mateer.
Yeah, we had to. I think that's going to be the key for next year. If he has a good season, I think we'll get to 8 or 9 wins. It's going to be the next season is going to be harder than this season. People don't realize.
You may be having a whole new staff next season too. So
yeah, and we're adding Michigan on the non-conference, and they'll be better than what they were.
Yeah. Oh, Michigan's on the way up.
They're on the way up, and OU's on the way down based on this season. So
yeah. All right, guys.
Hey, thanks, Bobby.
Hey, I got to get the comment here. I got to get the comment before Greg real quick. I got to say something.
It's probably the same. Okay, it's the same one I'm getting ready to get to.
Okay, here's what I was going to say, and then we'll get to Greg. Mr. B, I totally disagree here, and here's why. If you process McCullough and you don't get Daniels, or you lost Lewis Carter, you can't process guys and then not replace them with better guys.
Wait, Jay, let's understand something. Just because a fan didn't think the player was as good as they thought he was going to be doesn't mean they got processed out. I love how how fans are like, well, he was processed. He was processed. You didn't want him.
Well, some are processed. Some are.
I get it, Jay, but Deshaun McCullough, in my opinion, has he lived up to what everyone thought he was? No, he's had some injuries. To think that they just didn't want him anymore, I think is a big-time stretch, Jay. What's up, Coconut
My
Greg?
thing is this. If you're going to process guys, then you got to replace them with better guys. Otherwise, why are you processing them? It doesn't make sense. Greg, what's going on?
I'll get to my main points, but yeah, you don't process someone out on basically a dice roll on someone in the portal who may or may not come.
Yeah, you got to know he's coming. Yeah,
exactly. I think a lot of this isn't going to matter until we figure out how to keep some of our guys healthy. If we're decimated at a position group like we were wide receiver this year, anywhere else on the field or them again, that's going to be a disaster. So we got to figure out how to keep these guys healthy. And I don't know, I'm not trying to say it's strength and conditioning or anything else, but the fact that it was all one position group, again, got to figure out why that was and not let that happen everywhere else. And I'll take this last bit off the point. I'm kind of kidding. I'm kind of not. But OU has a big NIL potential if they would just maybe tax the marijuana dispensaries. Again, I'm kind of kidding. I'm kind of not. If they took like 0.5% from all the weed dispensaries in Oklahoma, we'd be unstoppable. We'd pay every guy on that team $1 million a year. That's all I got.
Hey, thanks, Greg. That's kind of what someone yesterday said. Get up with the casinos and try to get an NIL package going on. But hey, Jay.
Yeah.
Again, I don't want to leave this because up on the top of our screen it says a podcast that tells it like it is. So I will call takes out. I'll never attack anyone personally, but I will call takes out when I think it's a bad take. And the Dasan McCullough, he's a guy that was going to push for a starting job at Cheetah or at linebacker or play a whole lot next year. He just was. People can sit here and say, well, no, it was going to be Dolby and Power. Dolby's coming off an injury. We don't know what Dolby's going to be like. I guarantee you they didn't say, well, we hope Dasan McCullough kind of leaves so we can put other guys there. You can put other guys there anyway. Doesn't mean you have to have them leave. But
I saw somebody say that Daniels won't play Cheetah. What? Where would
Daniels is going to? To me, Daniels would be a Cheetah guy.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where else they would play him. You think
a little bit of linebacker, but look. And as far as the injuries, again, it's very interesting that Caden Helms, Nick Anderson's best friend, who also went through injuries, did not leave. It was very weird last year. I can't explain.
He hasn't left. Yeah, I mean you're right. And so
Dave says 100% that take is correct. Losing Dasan wasn't, quote, part of the plan. Thanks, Dave Myrick. Look, there are guys that you process or you allow to exit quietly, or you maybe even gently nudge them out the door by how you speak about next year. He's not one.
Yeah. Sooner for Life says, I do agree more talent is leaving than coming in, but what we needed most, we got Mateer. I agree with Mateer. I just think, and I don't think Arbuckle needs like just 5-star tight end, but you need a good tight end. And maybe Devon Mitchell's it, but they don't have a whole lot of depth there and they have no experience. That's my thing. They have no experience. Hey, yeah, Dasan was a tweener. I get it.
This take on Trace Ford, in my opinion, this is one reason I thought Kendall Daniels, and I still have hopes that Daniels is going to be a Sooner. I mean, it's the exact same path that Trace Ford did. Trace Ford hopefully is in his ear saying, look, man, I made that move from Stillwater to Norman. It was a great thing for me. Like, needs to happen. And they do need another O-lineman.
You think they land Daniels?
I'm still above 50%, but Jason, with as much dragging of feet has been, again, this should be a time where things are popping right now and hopping.
Yeah.
Quiet, all quiet, ghost town. People come in, they visit, they leave, they're not committed. Or they leave and they go to Miami. Or.
Hey, we've talked about this before. You can name some names here. You got.
I've got to address this.
Oh yeah, I already know what you're going to do.
I was on a space earlier. Hey, Boomer Sooner. Honest thoughts. I'm going to say the same thing I said then.
I heard it. Yeah, there's no way. No way.
Zero chance.
Zero.
Nada. Nil. Nothing. Zero. Why would you ask those? I didn't want to address it, Jay. It's silly to me.
Hey, here's the funny part about it. I don't think do people
doesn't-
not realize there are there are literal people right now sitting at a computer desk. When a guy hits the portal, they see it. Okay, if any of those guys' names were put into a portal, it's like,
Please.
that's the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life.
And I know what the thought was. Someone said, well, the NIL package, everyone was going to pay for their school. They didn't need the scholarship. They could get scholarships anywhere. That is an unbelievable, in my opinion. Like it does not make any sense to me. If you're going to do that, you're going to go find a scholarship from someone who's not one of those guys.
Yeah. Hey, let's get to Keith. You're on the line, Keith. What's going on?
How's it going tonight?
Good. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. Hey, just thinking about this developmental issue. I wonder if there's metrics out there on the coaches and how good of a job they do on developing their positions. And if they put a lot of energy into it, are they just preparing a guy to get into the portal and leave him the following year? It's got to be a difficult thing for them because they have no guarantees that a guy is going to stick around. Like now we got Ben Arbuckle, and he does a great job of developing quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But, it seems like OU just doesn't do a good job of developing players, the receivers, the running backs, the offensive line. Well, there's debate about how well Bill Bedenbaugh does on the offensive line. But what do you think about the developmental side of the equation?
It's not there right now. And Keith Aaron made a comment and said development is only as good as the mindset of the player. Does the player help with being developed? Yes. You can't say the coaches don't play a role in that.
Yeah, they got to.
It's bad. The development's bad right now. At certain positions, it's worse.
Because, you could have a metric. How well has a certain guy improved from the time they got there till now?
Yeah. Look, I agree. And it's not just that, Keith. It's also when there isn't development, they're not choosing to go elsewhere and bring guys who may be more developed or maybe playing or practicing better and put them in there.
Yeah.
Hey,
Appreciate it, Keith.
Thanks, Keith. Jerm, I don't know what happened. I got kind of froze up or something. I got to say something about it, though, real quick. I got froze up, so I don't know the whole call. But you know what I think people don't talk about enough with the development? It's the fact that, yeah, there hasn't been great development. But part of that also is how many different offenses have they been running over the last 3 years? There's no consistency even with the coordinator position. So then I know you can still develop players, but you're running different offense, they got to have some consistency. The whole thing's on offense is just it's a mess.
Development has been lacking in a lot of areas. Hey, Platoon 20. I'm going to say this because I'm an educator for 20 years. I was in the classroom 20 years. Now I'm out of the classroom, but I'm still educator as an assistant principal. Here's what I would say. And I coached for all those years. Okay. I think that is, do teachers and coaches, are they able to motivate and get students to a certain spot? Yes, that's their role. That's why we do it. That is why we do it. At least that's why I did it. But you got to have willingness from the students. I can tell you the students who were going to succeed, and it wasn't because of me. It was because they had this work ethic inside. They wanted to be better than the person next to them. They didn't care about being better than the other team. They want to be better next to the person next to them. You put that together with a good teacher and coach, you have success. Now, the other side, if this person is working really hard, but the coach is not doing their job or the teacher's not, this student is going to end up hitting a wall and losing development.
I lost you there for a little bit, John. I was trying to keep up.
Lost me.
Lost you. I get your point. I get your main point there.
Maybe I didn't make any sense. That wouldn't be anything new.
No, there was something I was going to bring up. Golly. I'll get to it here in a minute, but it'll come back to me. Dave says, a slap in the face of the base, Joe John Finley. I'll put DM in it, are still here in 26. And Jones is close. Arbuckle not being allowed to fill out his staff and retaining his staff in charge of the most inept offense of 30 years, on top of what's not happening in the portal, on top of losing, just optics, bad optics right now. And that's right. And when they hired Arbuckle, and I know there were a lot of people on here that thought Arbuckle shouldn't be able to bring in coaches, but I'm always under the belief that the OC brings in the coaches. I know a lot of people disagree with it. They're like, well, Lincoln Riley didn't bring in his coaches. I get it, but I think Arbuckle, this staff last year, it was one of the worst offenses in OU history. And you know how many of them are gone? 0. They're all back. So I don't know. I may have to see stuff on the field before I can talk that the offense is in. I think Arbuckle is going to help it. Don't get me wrong, but I got to see some stuff on the field. So have you taught any current OU players, John?
No, there's no Saptown kids at OU right now. They had Carl Pendleton was a great Sepulpa athlete.
He was good. He was good.
Aaron says, I understand, Jaron, but what's the stars for then when they pick a 5-star? Coaches figure no need to coach up. No, you still have to coach up. Hey, when your best player is also your hardest worker and best practice player, that's when you're really good.
Yeah, but it's even Brent Venables, one of his quotes that he says all the time. You're either coaching it or you're allowing it. So either you're allowing bad play on offense or you're coaching bad offense. Based on Brent Venables, that's what he says all the time. He says you're either coaching it or you're allowing it.
And
so,
look, I don't care if you had I don't care if you got the spectacles from National Treasure and you are Nicolas Cage yourself. The optics are still bad right now in Norman, as Dave Myrick said. The optics are still bad right now. They need something to brighten up things. And I thought maybe getting a couple of these guys out of the portal on defense would be big. Dave also says player evaluation is lacking. And again, that's why yesterday, and look, I'm not in on the OU stuff. I'm just not. I'm not someone who's close to everything. I'm a fan like a lot of the people are on here, guys. That's what we are. Okay. But to me, the Chuck Lilly stuff, go get someone who's strictly focused and strictly majored and practiced in the area of player evaluating and roster management.
Hey, and
Chuck Lilly had BB ties.
Hey, I'm so glad Joe put this in there because I was literally getting ready to talk about this. And Jeremy, I make comparisons all the time to like real world work, like in businesses, right? If you compare it, okay. I have switched jobs a lot in my life. And I've went into teams that I had to lead that I wasn't allowed to make changes for. It sometimes took me 2 years to get where with that team where I had to make changes. Now, I've also been on teams where you bring the people with you and it's like night and day. So I think there is when you are going into a situation, now it can work out, AKA Lincoln Riley, but you got to have a perfect staff in there that can do it. I think a lot of times in that, like Joe says, in business, when you go in and you don't make any changes, sometimes that's hard to really in year one. And here's the deal. It's year one for Brent Venables. He has 1 year. Like, this is it. That's my thing. This is the year for Brent Venables to make or break. So he's going to have to perform well. So that's why I was a little surprised they didn't make any so far.
Looks like the Bengals won, so the Chiefs need to automatically purposely lose tomorrow so that AFC doesn't have to face the Bengals because no one wants to. Hey, Jay, I know you like Chip Viney. That's a name you mentioned. Hey, Chuck, I'm going to disagree with one of these. I would say a lot of the coaching staff is lost. Seems to be. I would say the fan base is lost. No, the fan base is upset. And by the way, the locker room, they haven't lost the locker room. In fact, they kept a lot of the guys. Says a lot. I don't think the locker room's lost.
Yeah. And Porter Moser Stan says, why does it constantly feel like our outbid? And then the fan base turns around and says, oh, he wouldn't have started. Hey, I'm with you on this take. It's just like when guys leave Oklahoma and everybody says, well, they weren't any good at OU or they wanted him to leave. Come on now. It doesn't always happen that way. And I want to get to KB's comment real quick. Back to money, costs more to bring on new coaches in. I think I would disagree a little bit on that because I think OU's paying DeMarco Murray pretty well money. They're paying him good money. You could also say Bill Bedenbaugh's getting really good money. You could go down the list.
Marco Murray got a raise last year when he tried to go to Ohio State.
Correct. So Arbuckle may know guys that he would work with that might be cheaper. So it's not always that case, but I get what you're saying, KB. And cost really doesn't matter when a team is not winning. So winning changes everything, guys. I mean, that's the fact of the matter. They got to win. Just win, baby. That's the thing. Hey, I got trivia, man. You ready for this one?
Bring it.
This is a doozy tonight, so be ready. Make sure you check out the Fan Stop, www.dfanstop.com. Use code SURGE, get 10% off your first 3 months. Guys, elite hoodies, elite hats, all of it. Officially licensed. Check them out. Here we go with trivia. I was watching the Pittsburgh NFL game tonight. Russell Wilson, quarterback. His last year in college was 2011, played at Wisconsin. That year for Oklahoma, 2011, they had a captain. That was back in the day when they did captains for the whole year. They had a captain who's still playing in the NFL, 2-time Pro Bowler. Who is it?
2011.
2011, current on an NFL roster still, 2-time Pro Bowler. He was a captain for the 2011 team. This is a good trivia.
It is not Ron Brown.
It's not Ron Brown.
I haven't seen Ron on here tonight.
I was thinking that earlier. I haven't seen him. Not Lane Johnson. No.
Some of the usual suspects aren't here tonight, Jay.
Had to be a captain. There it is. Tress Way, baby. Tress Way, 2-time Pro Bowler, was a captain on that team. Tress the Way. He is the way. By the way, if you've never heard him speak,
He is the way.
What?
Tress is the way.
What do you mean?
You said he is the way. Tress.
Tress the Way. That was a nickname. He's the way, man. He's good. Never mind. You don't get it, do you? Yeah, he's a union guy. He's a union guy. He is. Go.
And hey.
Who got it? Who got it? I can't remember. Madman. Good job, Madman. You get the point for tonight.
Hey.
So we're keeping track, remember, for the whole month of January.
Casey Carter says, should gut the whole thing next year if we don't. And here's the deal, Casey. The problem is, I agree. There's going to be wholesale changes if you go 7-5 next year, and maybe 8-4, depending on who the losses are to. But then you gut everything, and then you're again 2 or 3 years. I mean, best case scenarios it gets turned around. I can't bank on that.
Hey, I got a take real quick. Okay, I saw Crystal's comment. Says they say Beaver never lost the locker room. However, he has the most players leaving through the portal. But wait. But here's my thing, and this could be very telling. Not losing a whole lot of defensive guys, but do you think offensive? Do you think offensive players they'll never figure it out offensively as long as BV's in charge?
There's that, and then I do think some offensive guys probably were processed.
But they all left before even Arbuckle came aboard, some of them.
Right. I think
what I'm saying is this. So maybe they're I'll just stop. I don't want to put assumptions out there, but maybe it's hey, BV's a great defensive mind, but as far as managing the whole thing with offense and stuff, I don't know if they'll figure it out. I don't know.
I don't want to lose my mind right now, so I'm going to stay very calm, Mr. B.
Oh, you're getting ready to lose your mind, I think.
Mr. B, obviously you didn't hear what I said earlier. I never once said that OU doesn't process anyone.
Yeah, that's true.
Please, do not take what I say and make it fit your narrative or put it in some kind of other context. Yes, guys get processed. In fact, Bauer Sharp would be one, in my opinion. Okay? But not Deshaun McCullough. Okay? I'm not going to have the argument, but It's funny how you're going to say that now I'm using the word that you wanted me to use. I said when you said it.
Yeah, and Chuck, as I was saying that, I was thinking, well, Levy was pretty good at Oklahoma, but it didn't equal championships, didn't equal wins. I mean, guys, let's not beat around the bush. 2023, with the schedule they had, with all those teams being in their first year in the Big 12 with UCF and everybody, you should have made the playoff after they beat Texas.
Correct.
They should have been in they should have been in the Big 12
That's
championship.
the year that set them back.
They should have been in the Big 12 championship after you beat Texas. They should have not.
That could have changed some things. Hey, Crystal, thank you so much. You do so much for our channel. Gifting 5 Sooner Surge memberships. 5 of you lucky Surgeaholics are going to get these. Crystal, appreciate it. Mr. B says the most productive offensive.
Mr. B,
okay.
come on.
Hey, come on. Hey, that take is worse than your other take. If he's the most productive player on offense, which, yeah, he was. You're not wrong there. He didn't just leave on his own. I'm pretty sure they said, you're not going to get the playing time you did this year. I'm pretty sure they probably thought, Devon Mitchell or Bauer Sharp. Let me think about that Devon Mitchell.
Yeah, and winners for the memberships, make sure you email us tonight, SoonerSurgePod@gmail.com. You'll get the Discord link. Dave says, best case scenario, this fixes it. Arbuckle, Mateer start rolling. Defense stays pretty good. Problem, this isn't just an offensive issue. Losses with the D not getting a stop when that's it. And Dave, you hit the nail on the head. That's what I'm saying. Last year, after they beat Texas, they should not have lost to Kansas, but they had issues, whether it be a 4th down and can't get a stop. Same with OSU. It's like they just can't. I don't know. I mean, I think you're right, Dave. It's a lot of things right now.
And
how many teams didn't win a championship? Hey, wait. Chuck says, how many teams didn't win a championship and had a good offense, Jay? Come on, man. I think you're missing my point, Chuck. My point was more that maybe they see that BV over the whole thing is just not like I don't know. Chuck, you don't have to score 50 points a game. You don't have to listen. You do not have to score 50 points a game to win it. Go look at the 4 teams on the left: Penn State, Ohio State, Notre Dame, and Texas. You know what they have? They have really good offense. They have really good defense, and they have really good coaching staff.
As Hunter says,
and good players.
When they fix one squeaky wheel, another one starts to squeak.
And that starts with Brent Venables.
It's a never-ending cycle, and I know Dave also talked about in-game management has been atrocious. And everyone thought when BV became the CEO and said, "Look, Zach Alley, take the defense. It's yours. Take the defense. I'm going to be over here and be the CEO, and I'm going to change how in-game management happens." Guess what? It didn't get much better. So now BV says, "I'll go back over there on the defensive side," and a lot of fans are saying, "Go there. Do that. Call the defense. Let Arbuckle come in and just do what he will with the offense.
Let Arbuckle cook." Hey, Mr. B. And that's
what I want you to do. I would be upset if you didn't stand by your take, Mr. B. I'm glad you are. But by the way, the Bauer Sharp stuff, I don't think he sat on campus after the last game and thought, I'm going to stay around because I'm going to be a really big piece of the. I don't think he saw that.
Hey, let me ask you this, and I know it's been brought up before by some of the Texas people. Is this a lot real similar to Strong's years at Texas?
Obviously, there's some similarities.
I don't know their records those years. Hunter maybe could drop them in there. I don't know them off the top of my head. But, players loved him, and he just couldn't get over it's comparable, Hunter says. Yeah, I think it is.
Hey, more analysts, yes or no, Jay?
Well, here's Jerm.
It depends on who it is.
Hey, I'm glad Greg brought that up. I'd have to look, but I think OU, when you look at big-time programs, probably have the least analysts of everybody. There's some teams out there. I mean, go look at Alabama. They got guys crawling out of the woodwork as an analyst. They got people doing everything. Well, at least they did under Saban. Hey, I don't know if they do under DeBoer, but
Crystal, I do not think he regrets it because, one, he's got a $44 million payout. If he leaves, or if he gets canned, he's got a lot of money. Two, he in time wanted to be a head coach. He waited as long as any other DC at his level to become a head coach, and he got it at the University of Oklahoma. I don't think he regrets it at all. Wait, Chuck's telling us to wake up. I'm guessing he's talking about the chat because I haven't said they're going to turn around in a year.
Wait, where did I say that they were going to turn it around next year?
He must be talking about the chat.
Chuck, I said halfway through this year, they probably need to go ahead and make the move. I don't know. Maybe it's in chat. Maybe so. I don't want to jump on Chuck.
Yips.
Hey, phone lines are open, though, if you want to call in, guys. Phone lines are open. Hey, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Let's go backwards to 1995. Would Brent Venables be a better head coach in that era? Does era have anything to do with it with him? With the portal?
No, it's about managing. It's about managing people, Jay.
What was portal and NIL?
He recruited well, if that's what you mean. If you're saying
back then when you have guys that
I can agree with you,
because he's such a believer in the development, 4-year player, seniors better than, you know what I mean? I'm just wondering. I don't know. Just a thought. Just
a lot of guys would. Saban would. Saban was great. Now, I mean, look at all the coaches that are leaving. But I agree with Dave, and that's why I said it. You still have to manage people.
And there's that part of it. I would agree, Dave. There's that part of it that he's not.
I mean, who did John Blake brought in? Garrett McGee, correct? Hey, John Blake's OC was Garrett McGee, wasn't he? Am I wrong?
As OC, I mean,
he had Joe Dickinson.
Yeah,
right.
I believe so. Yeah, both of them.
And then didn't Garrett McGee follow? I'd have to look at the timetable. They didn't have good coordinators, Jay. It was bad. Same type of deal.
Well, you can only do as good as your team and your coaching team. I mean, not your team, but both. But he doesn't have. He's the one leading the charge with the staff and the whole camaraderie of it and organizational of it. Gibbs brought in the term. When I address you guys, okay, no worries.
Wait, what year was Gibbs? Because Garrett McGee, I'll have to look at it after the live. I'm curious on who brought in who on this.
Are you talking about Garrett McGee playing or coaching?
Garrett McGee played quarterback, Jay.
I know. That's why I'm asking. Are you talking about playing or coaching?
He didn't play under Blake, did he? Because that was Eric Moore, Brandon Daniels.
I thought he did, but
I'd have to look at it.
Yeah, I thought, but yeah, 1994. That was year to year, Sooner WX. You were there probably. So I weren't you there?
WX was at OU in '94.
He played.
Sooner Freak. That was Sooner Freak.
Oh, was that Sooner Freak? Oh,
Sooner Freak 29, Jay. I have the photographic memory.
Oh, shoot. Here we go. Here we go with the photographic memory.
Another example.
Jeez. What else, man? What else tonight?
There's not much else. OU basketball was.
I think I got to say something. The stuff with Kirby Smart and his dad, awful. Did you see all that?
Yeah, it's horrible, man.
The way, just everything about it, just awful situation. Prayers out. I mean, that's terrible. Absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
So
hey, Joe Dickinson was 96 to 98. Yeah, Garrett McGee was under Schnellenberger also.
I thought Garrett McGee at Schnellenberger, it was between him and Eric Moore to start, and that they were flopping between them.
I put those years away, dude.
Well, are they coming back?
Well, I brought them up, didn't I?
Yeah.
Sooner basketball going to beat A&M, Jay? Yes or no?
What's that?
Is Sooner basketball going to beat A&M?
Are they? I don't know. They got to, man. They got to.
Wait.
Hunter says no.
Mississippi State already landed Load.
Yeah, they already landed him. That's a done deal.
And Joe, I get that there's a lot of people who love Phil Lodeholt, and he may end up being a great coach. To act like he's the top guy or to act like he's it right now for O-line, I disagree. He hasn't coached enough.
Hey, and it's at home, 8 o'clock Wednesday, 8 o'clock Wednesday night with no students. But you know what? They had no students for the Texas OU women game, and they had a big crowd. The Sooner fans got to show up. They got to win this game. You got to get this win and then go. You got the next 3 that they are pretty winnable games. I mean, I would think so. You got to flush tonight down the toilet as fast as possible, and get rid of it. You can't And then, hey, I got to get to this. I want to get to this. Paul's question. Paul Wayne, thanks for joining. Says, in y'all's real honest opinion. Well, first off, what I tell you is going to be my honest opinion because that's just what I do. But how do you fix the problems? Because if you're a picture, it's hard to see the problem. Well, I'm under the belief that what I've watched the last 3 years, overall, I don't know how it changes next year with that schedule and everything they got. I've already said before the offense will be better. I don't know how many wins you get with everything else still in place. That's just my opinion. I just don't know.
Jay,
I think the fix would be I don't know. I don't know what. I don't know how to answer that unless you total overhaul changes. No.
Hey, I'm with you, and I would love every game to be at McCaslin. I know they won't. I would love it. Crystal, they don't look like a Sweet 16 team. I'm worried that Moses is going to handcuff Fears a little bit like he's done with Javion McCollum and Umoja Gibson and others. He handcuffs him during conference play. Doesn't let him just play freely. And this is what happens OU every year in conference play.
Yeah, but you know, I got to say something. This bothers me too.
And the stubbornness of Porter Moser needs to go.
But you know what? You're one of them. You're one of the persons that bothers me on this. And I know we only have some minutes left here on the show, but it bothers me that every single year after preseason, people think that they should just now, OU's undefeated, they should go in and beat Alabama. Like,
what did I tell you today before the game?
They should go into the SEC and finish top 3. No, guys.
I've never said that. Make the tournament, Jason.
Well,
68 teams make it. OU hasn't been in it under Porter Moser.
I agree. They got to make the tournament.
They've been in the top 68.
Jeremy, they will make the tournament this year, I think.
Not if they play like they have in the past, and not if they play like they did today. They won't be in tournament.
Tell me on January 4th, do you think they're making the tournament? Yes or no?
I do think they will, but I'm not sold on it because of Porter Moser.
I think they make it. I think they get close to 500 in conference.
The stubbornness to not go to a zone when you cannot defend someone.
I agree. That was a bad
tonight
move.
was unbelievable.
That was a bad move. I won't deny that.
Yeah.
But
hey,
I mean, Fears when he put him back in down the stretch played really well. I mean, I think he flushed what happened at the first of it. He'll be fine.
Hey, I doubt there's any football news tomorrow because it's Sunday. Classes start January 13th. OU better get some news here in a couple of days on a lot of things. The DC, maybe front office stuff.
Donovan McNabb.
Portal guys. It was Donovan McNabb, yes.
Donovan McNabb.
Hey, so anyway, a lot to talk about still, and we'll always be here talking about it. Every single night, okay? Every day, we're here at 9:30 to talk with you, other Sooner fans, about what's going on in the world of Sooner sports. So thanks for hopping on. Smash the like, hit the like before you leave this tonight. Subscribe to the channel if you're not a subscriber. And check out wait, we got a caller real quick, Jay. I don't want to leave before we got a caller in here. And listen, we care about our viewers. Even though we're about to close this up, I saw Benny pop on here. So Benny, if you're there, we'll take your call.
Guys,
what's up?
Hey, okay, so I was just wanting to throw this out there and see what you guys think of it. It kind of seems like, besides Burks and probably Jaden Gibson if he comes back, it kind of seems like we're playing the money ball in the portal to me, which I'm not opposed to. But in my opinion, I think that Arbuckle is going to have to, he's going to have to be very creative with his scheme, but it's going to have to be a week-to-week thing. He's going to have to be able to spot matchups. He's going to have to be a master at matchups. I mean, I don't know. I think
I think he is really good at scheming and matchups.
Hey,
I think he's really good at
it. Benny, when you say OU's playing money ball in the portal, are you referring to like the movie and what the Oakland A's did?
Yeah, something like that. You're
talking about they're looking for guys who are like, but here's the problem with that.
I like that comparison. I do.
No, but here's the issue with that, Jay. In that movie and in real life, and in the movie especially, because I love the movie, but in real life too, the evaluator, the guy who was doing the evaluating, was unbelievable. The difference is who OU has evaluating doesn't look like they're very good right now.
Yeah, no, I know that's true. Yeah, for sure.
But you are right that if you can win that way and get these guys who fit and who don't cost as much, I mean, I tell you who's doing the money ball better than anyone in the history of the NBA is Sam Presti.
Right. Yeah, and it's just like maybe some games we're gonna have to pass it 70% of the game, and maybe some games we're gonna have to run it 60 or 70% of the game. I just, it's gonna have to be week to week. He's just gonna have to be really good at spotting that. So
I agree. I agree. And hey, thanks for the call, Benny. Appreciate it. And I do think he's good at that. I do also think he does what he has as far as roster wise. That's what he said he does is if he has a good heavy run game, he'll run the ball more. If he feels like he's got better at pass, they'll do that. So I think he does better.
And I do agree defensively. I mean, you had guys, Bothroyd, Ford, Kaden Woolard.
Yeah, Jeremy, who's the head coach? He's a defensive guy. I agree with Mr. B on that. I agree.
Hey, and Daniel says if OU had Hunter as an evaluator, Sooners to be dominating recruiting in the portal. Hunter is great. Give him kudos. He can do it all. He's a jack of all trades. Jay, you're the master of none, but you're good at a lot. But hey, thanks for being here with us tonight. We appreciate everyone that's on here tonight, and we will see you all tomorrow night. Have a fantastic and super Sunday.
Master of none.